Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Millionaire Whisperer. So Joe, what do we have for the audience today?
Okay, so today we'll be talking about Faber residence. What's your thoughts about Faber residence?
I remember suddenly I thought of Mount Faber. But is this really at Mount Faber? No, this one is actually in the Clementi Enclave. Okay, so if you dive down into this location, not that bad lah, Joe, because if you look at this area, right, you have 5 bus stops right to Jurong East. The bus stop is in fact just just outside of your condo, and then you are also within 2 bus stops away to Clementi MRT. So if you are going to town area, there are actually a few buses that you can just head right down to the town area. So in fact, right, it's actually about 10 minutes walk to our next up and coming MRT, which is our Panang Reservoir and also our Jurong Town Hall MRT.
Okay, so our question really to the audience out there is that would you rather pay high for a place that already has MRT, or would you maybe pay lower for a place that you know that there is going to be a MRT when it TOP?
And so for this developer, Joe, share with us, who is this developer for this Faber residence?
Alright, so it's none other than Gracoland.
Yes, correct. And based on their track record, they have done very well this year. In fact, if you look at the recent launches like Lantong or Modern, they launched about 75% on the launch day. For Lantong Mansion, 84% on launch day. And this year, we have this launch of Springleaf Residence, also by Cocoland. They did phenomenally well. They launched on 92% sold on the first day. Okay, so Joe, how much do you think this project will be launched at?
Okay, so we can actually take a guide and a guess from actually the sale of Springleaf. So Springleaf break-even is actually 1688 per square feet, and the average price that they sold was 2175.
Yes.
Meaning to say the developer did about a 20% profit margin factoring harmonization.
So if you look at Faber Residence, in fact, if you look at the land bid price, it's actually very close to Springleaf. It's at 900 per square feet per plot ratio. So if you convert it to a 20% profit margin, we are looking at 2018 per square feet, and if you factor in harmonization, potentially they will launch at 2160 per square feet. Okay, if you want to understand a little bit more about this development, let's run through some of the rapid facts. Okay, it comprises of 309 units, total of 5 stories high. Yeah, and in this development, okay, we are looking at 2 bedders, 3 bedders, 4 bedders, and 5 bedders. Wow, thank God for this development, we don't have any 1 bedders finally. And estimated TOP for this development is 2028 quarter 1.
Alright, that's pretty fast. So one good thing about the unit mix, if you notice, right, is that it's almost 75% dedicated to 3-bed and 4-bed, which is really excellent. Meaning this project is really built for a stay-in kind of purpose.
Correct. Yeah, so Joe, share with us one thing. What do you like most about this location?
Nothing much, but except it's 1 kilometer of Nanhua.
Yes, correct. Alright, so not only just Nanhua, in fact, you have 4 other schools. Yeah, also within 1 to 2 kilometers to Chifa, Pei Tong, and Clementi Primary School. But of course, the elite school here is none other than Nanhua Primary School. So let's take a deep dive at those projects around this area. How does project within 1 kilometer from Nanhua Primary School perform? So if you look at Park Rivera, they grow averagely per year about 4%. If you look at Twinville, they did phenomenally well, about 4.44%. And our new kid on the block, which is our Whistle Grand, they did almost close to 5.77%.
Alright, so in order to enter any property, we need to make sure that it is a safe entry price. So let's discuss, is this a safe entry price?
So based on a 20% profit margin with harmonization, we're expecting the launch price to be about 2180 per square feet. But is this really safe? So let's take a look at the resale transaction in this area. So if you look at Whistle Grand, average, they have already hit almost about 2,000 per square feet on the average. And the price has gone up to as high as 2.4 million. So if you look into Park Clementi, okay, recently I think they have break all grounds. Average price is about 2001 per square feet, and they hit almost 2600 per square feet for the highest PSF. And if you look at Clermont, averagely has done almost about 2000 per square feet, and it has hit almost as high as 2400 per square feet. And let's look at the West project, which is not near to the MRT, and there's no Nanhua, which is a good school factor within 1 kilometer from it. So we have Lake Garden, which has already accepted up to 2259 per square feet. We have Sora, 2270 per square feet, and we have Alta, which is also at the other side of the Clementi area. It has hit about 2821 per square feet. And Bloomsbury, which is in the media circle area, it has already accepted 2415 per square feet in that area.
Adding on to whether is this a safe entry price, we also compare this to some of the upcoming EC prices that is going to happen.
Yeah.
Woodlands, which is likely going to be launching at least 1,009 plus per square feet. We also have the Senja piece, which is likely coming in at 1,009 plus per square feet. If truly today you can enter a private condo at barely a 10% gap, I think that's pretty safe.
Yes, that's pretty safe. So if you look at how OCI has performed averagely now, it has hit almost up to 2,240 per square feet on the average. So if you can enter Faber residence at 2,180 per square feet, is it safe? Please leave your comments at the box below. Okay, so now let's look at our price metric. Okay, so if developer were to launch at 20% profit margin, which will... Okay, so based on a 20% profit margin for a two-bedder 646 square feet, we're expecting the developer to launch at 1.4 million. And if it's based on a 30% profit margin, we're expecting the price to be about 1.5 million. But is it really safe to enter at this price? So if you were to look at what our neighbors has already been transacted at, let's look at Alta. Alta has already accepted up to almost about 2.2 million for the two-bedders.
Okay, moving along, for 3-bedroom, we actually have 3 sizes, which is 818, 861, and 1033 square feet. So if the developer is going to be doing 20% profit margin, harmonized price, which so far this developer has been pretty kind, we're expecting the prices for 3-bed to range from 1.77 mil all the way to 2.23 mil. So is this price acceptable? I guess it is pretty acceptable because at Alta, which is not within 1 kilometer of Nanhua, which is not really so walking distance to Clementi MRT, people have accepted paying up to 2.88 mil for a 3-bedroom.
Wow. In fact, if you look at another research project, right, which is just within 1 kilometer to Nanhua Primary School, which is our Park Clementis. A 3-bedroom here has already accepted 2.5 to 2.6 in terms of the sale price. And if you look at the highest PSF for Park Clementi, guess what? It has hit almost up to 2,600 per square feet for a resale 2 years property.
Alright, moving along to the 4-bed, which is highly demanded in the west area, we are expecting the prices to be at a range of 2.42 to 3.21 if the developer is going to be doing a 20% profit margin. So how has these prices been accepted in the west? Alta people have paid as high as 3.85 mil for a 4-bedroom. So I think the 4-bed is a pretty good buy.
When you understand about the supply of 4-bedroom, right, which is within 1 kilometer to Nanhua Primary School, in fact, the supply is very little. If you check out Park Clementi, currently there's only one listing and it's asking at 3.75 mil. If you look at Whistle Grand, alright, there's only 2 listings and they are pricing at almost close to 3 million. So you can see that, Joe, in this place, right, you don't really have a lot of people that want to sell their big houses. And finally, in Clementi, it's known for one thing. It's known for the strong pool of HDB upgraders. So if you look at the number of millionaire HDBs, in fact, you can see that Clementi actually formed 5% of the total number of $1 million HDB in Singapore. And how much the 4-room in Clementi has they been transacted at? So if you look at the newer block, okay, which is at Clementi Avenue 3, Block 445B, 455A, that cluster, the 4-room has already hit almost up to 1.25 to 1.28 mil. Okay, and if you look across to the Clementi and Avenue 4 area, which is also another new MOP cluster, 312A, 312C, they has hit almost up to about 1.15 mil.
That's right. Moving on to the 5-room in Clementi, the prices have ranged as high as 1.37 mil all the way to 1.45 mil for a 5-room in Clementi. All these are your possible resale buyers in the future.
Yes, correct. So the question is, how much did they buy at the initial phase? Okay, so a 4-room flat in Clementi costs almost about 478,000. A 5-room flat in Clementi costs about 476,000. So if you work out the profit that these people have made, right, they have easily made almost up to about 8 to 900,000. So the question is, can they afford to buy Faber residence? So if you work based on the capital outlay for a 2-room, 3-room, 4-room, 5-room in Faber residence, you probably need about 600,000, 700,000, 800,000 or 900,000. Real concern from all the audience here is that is there an oversupply in Clementi area? So let me work out the numbers for you. So if you are looking at condos, number of units which is really within 1 kilometer to Nanhua itself, you have a total of 6 condos. And the total number of units, if you add up all together, it will be 2,862. But if you look at the number of HDB, which is reaching the MOP in Clementi, it has almost hit up to about 2,668. Remember, these are only just the newly MOP cluster. We have not factored in those that has already in the resale stage. So probably in this case, right, we can see that the supply is really very limited, but the demand is always there in Clementi area.
Alright, so as a summary, today we're going to give you 3 reasons why you may want to consider Faber residence. Number 1, if the developer is just going to be doing 20% profit margin, I think this is a pretty safe entry price. Despite that it is not 1 kilometer of any MRT currently, there is proven track record that as long as you're within 1 kilometer of some top primary school, such properties definitely do well. So we have really good examples of properties like Whistler Grand, and even if you talk about other parts of Singapore, like Affinity and all that, which is within 1 kilometer of top primary school like Rosyth, they also did very well. Thirdly, the very strong reason why we look forward to this development is definitely the developer, Gracoland. So I think the quality is trusted, and this is actually a joint venture between Gracoland and Hong Leong. 2 big, strong players.
And what are our real concerns over here? Okay, which is of course number 1, this place is to me damn ulu. Okay, because if you really were to walk from Faber Residence to the nearest MRT, which is Clementi, it could probably take you up to about 25 minutes.
So make sure you forget all your salt and sugar, because if you forget about it, right, it's going to be quite a long walk out.
Yes, it's a long walk. I mean, the nearest comparison is of course Waterfront Faber. Alright, this project actually TOP in 2018 and prop ratio of 1.4. You can see that actually, right, Joe, if you look at the data, it don't really perform well. The annualized return per year is only 2.4%. Can't even cover my interest, can't even cover my CPF interest.
Actually, with regards to this point, right, there is actually deeper reasons why Waterfront at Faber didn't do as well, although it is also with 1 kilometer of Nanhua Primary. So for more information, we'll be glad to do a deeper analysis with you. Please contact us at our contact over here.
And what is my third real concern is that the prop ratio is only 1.4. So for a condo which has only prop ratio of 1.4, meaning you can only hit up to maximum of about 5 to 6 stories. If you are staying in a block that is pretty short, the concern is that you don't feel the grandness of this place. It's not like when you step into Twinville, if you step into Whistler Grand, which are of course more units, higher floor, you feel much better, you feel less claustrophobic. So Joe, this is my real concern. So anyhow, for today, we just want to thank every one of you out there for really listening to our YouTube videos, and we hope that we have bring you great market insight during this period of time. And of course, some of you here, you may be very confused. There are so many projects that is launching up. You have Sky at Holland, you have Penreef, you have Faber, we have so many projects, and you are a little bit feeling a bit confused. Don't worry, me and Joe, we have almost 13 to 15 years of experience, and we are really out there. We'll be there for you. We'll be there to help you to walk through this real estate journey. Remember, you are not alone. So if you have any questions, do feel free to hit up. Once again, my name is Victor.
And I'm Joe, and
Signing
off
off
for today.
This is about 15 minutes walk from Clementi MRT station.
Ayo, no MRT cannot leh.
Okay, really. Big all thanks to our government who came out with this new JEL line, Jurong Regional Line. Sorry. So if we can enter Faber at 2180 per square feet, Joe, do you think it's safe? Yeah, safe.
Okay.
You want more time?
他讲完了，我就 OK， 讲多一次。